Good morning. My name is Molly Lua, and this is for my Communications 101 class. If you've ever seen a loved one go through so much unbearable pain, you'll try and do anything to relieve them of that. Well, my best friend is plagued with chronic pain caused by severe plantar fasciitis in both of his feet, sleep apnea, and chronic insomnia. After years of therapy and rigorous nights fighting with the CPAP machine, my husband decided to try marijuana, and by far this is the only thing that's worked. I'm sure we all know someone who has gone through chronic pain, sleep apnea, or has undergone chemotherapy treatments or is currently going through that. Well, I'm here to explain that science shows marijuana is safer than prescription drugs. Because marijuana is such a controversial drug, we need to educate ourselves on the short and long-term effects, along with the many positive medical benefits. First, I'd like to share the great debate over marijuana and why it's caused such a stir in our nation. I'll go over some of the pros and cons, and afterwards I'll explain to you how it affects those of us that live here in Nevada. According to a 2014 article in addiction.com, active ingredients in cannabis offer relief in some medical conditions, such as alleviating nausea, increasing appetite for patients with cancer and HIV. In another article written by Dr. Mercola in 2010, the Center for Medical Cannabis Research released a report on 14 clinical studies that revealed marijuana not only controls pain, but in many cases, it does better than pharmaceutical alternatives. Marijuana is now legal in 23 states, to include Nevada. Since marijuana is not limited to those with medical marijuana cards, marijuana can also be sold recreationally. Did you know that as of 2014, City Council members approved 26 pot dispensaries here in Nevada? That was more than double what they initially wanted to approve. Nevada sales hit $27.1 million as of July 2017, and 2.71 million of that went back to the state. Next, I'd like to share some of the short and long-term effects of marijuana. Some of the short-term effects include impaired memory, stoked appetite, altered sleep, and reduced pain. And of course, there are the long-term effects, risk of addiction, and alterations to brain development. I know what you're thinking. You're probably wondering, well, where are the medical benefits? Well, it's important for us to understand that drugs are drugs, whether for good or bad purposes. Well, what would you say if I told you that prescription drugs kill about 100,000 people a year, as opposed to 0 deaths caused by marijuana use? Some of the medical benefits of marijuana have been linked to aid in diseases such as Alzheimer's, epilepsy, cancer, HIV, and chemotherapy. In conclusion, there will always be a back and forth mantra about medical marijuana. But if we educate ourselves on the positive and negatives, we can find a balance amongst it all. Educate. Be proactive on medical marijuana. Although there's controversy followed by the long-term effects of marijuana, the health benefits cannot be denied. With 0 deaths caused by marijuana use to an average of 100,000 deaths annually caused by prescription drugs, how can you afford to look away? It doesn't cost you a single penny to do your research and see that marijuana is a working miracle to so many people. It only costs your time. There are articles, websites, and journals that can be found to provide you with all this information. All you need to do is believe that this can make a difference in not only your life, but maybe someone else, a loved one. Thank you. I just need to show my cards. Excuse me. These are my note cards.
Okay. Show the first one again. And might need to get closer to it because they can't. Okay.
Can you see it?
Okay, there. And then stop.
Yep.